Hi everyone, we are super excited for this week's podcast. This is Valentine's Day week, so we are excited because I have my true Valentine here with me, Dr. Mona, and we are excited to take the questions. So we circulated the questionnaire and we got some amazing questions. So we are both gonna answer these questions and it's going to be a good time together as we share the insights that we have from 15 years of which. Yes, so let's get started. So I have Percy here, who is here to read out the questions. Our production team is here, so they're going to assist us with the questions. And let's get started, Percy. You can...
Hello, ma'am. So
Hi.
today's first question, what the people have asked is it okay to fall in love at first sight? Or should one take time to think then?
So, see, love at first sight. We need to really give a pause and think. Is it really love or is it infatuation? Because what happens, we are sexual beings. We are mimetic beings. At the same time, we have a lot of emotions connected to our personality. So we are all created for love. We are all created for connections. Meaningful, persistent, and long-lasting connections. So what happens is when we look at a person, mostly what we have observed is we have infatuation because it's part of your sex drive, your sexual energy. You like the person. But what happens is the love, concluding it as love, we really need to pause and ponder whether it's love. Because love doesn't happen in first sight. Because love is not a feeling. Love is a choice. Love is connected with wisdom of God. So we need to understand love at first sight has to be corrected because it might be a liking, sort of an infatuation for that person. So it has to be taken through a proper understanding or a course where you understand whether, okay, is this just a feeling or can I be committed to this relationship?
What I feel is emotions are very important. It's a part of us, the way we respond to situations. Okay, so we need to learn how to regulate those emotions correctly. So love at first sight is something, of course, we've learned it from the movies, where there is a nice song, there's a breeze, and there's a look, one focus look. I feel that is also required, but at the same time, we need to regulate that feeling. And love is a choice, as SUJIT mentioned. It is a choice, and it's not a feeling, something which is very mistaken these days.
Yeah.
So if there is love at first sight, for example, if you feel something about somebody, I think how to regulate that emotion is to take it to the Lord in prayer first, okay? Because you shouldn't like the person just because the way the person looks like, or they have same qualities as you. For example, I love dogs. So if the other person loves animals, you just fall in love with that person. So that's not the only parameter. So I think we have to, when we are looking at somebody, it's, of course, the standpoint is marriage, covenant. So keeping that in mind, a covenant is so precious. We'll be talking about that in more detail. But keeping that in mind, making one decision, it's either a yes or a no. You can't say a yes and then after 10 days say no. So it has to be regulated. How do you regulate it? Ask God. Ask God whether that is the right person for you. Okay, because only God knows what you and God knows what the other person needs. So only He can guide you through and give you the wisdom and interpret that wisdom and give you the discernment to follow it. Anything
Nice. Yeah. You keep listening. We'll go to the next question.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second question, they're really the one, but it commas the one for every individual. Could you back your response with scripture?
It's a very important question because I've seen that this question, literally revolves in the Christian circle a lot. If you see the planning of God, see, God works beautiful ways. The way in which He works, revealing His wisdom to us. We need to understand that there is no such thing as the person for another person. It doesn't work that way because we are in a system where we are interconnected with a lot of other people. So if the statement was true that, there is only one person for, one particular person appointed by God for this man, what happens is because of the choices involved in between, there is always chances of error. There are always chances of missing it out. The kingdom of God works in a different pattern where God teaches you how to build your house. Okay, the proverb says, the word, it's very beautiful, the scriptures, it says that the house is built on wisdom. Then the home, the houses, the rooms in the houses are filled with wisdom and understanding. You understand? God gives you the wisdom to enter into the covenant called marriage. So you can be prepared for that covenant and you can learn how that covenant works. Based on that, you can make the choice. So if we are sticking on with this point that, okay, I made the right choice. Okay, I got my rib. That is the normal term which is used that, okay, I found my missing rib. But at the same time, I've heard people telling that, no, this is not my missing rib. I entered into this because I was forced into it. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You understand the covenant. You understand your responsibility. You understand the power of love and daily choosing your partner. It all requires commitment. It all requires dedication. And it is not how we discuss, not a feeling. It's a conscious daily choice. So when you pray, the Lord will direct you, will give you the wisdom to choose the partner. At the same time, I feel the more important part is to prepare yourself, surrendering to the Lord and telling the Lord, prepare me. I want to enter into this covenant. Give me the resources of wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and in earthly term, give me a good job and good financial backup and all the wisdom so that I can be a righteous husband or a righteous wife. I can take up this beautiful call you have ordained for me. That should be the way we.
Yeah. I mean, it's very connected to the first. And the basic thing about marriage or covenant is I choose. So you are not saying that I choose or you choose me, or you're not taking the responsibility for the other person. It's like if I will choose you as long as you are good to me, as long as you are respectful to me, or as long as you talk to me nicely, lovingly. If you don't talk to me lovingly, I will not choose you. That is not the deal. The deal is I will choose. So for you to make that statement, be a powerful person. So you need to work on your, as Sir rightly said, that to prepare ourselves, which is important. Okay, so when I said before that when you ask God for a confirmation and ask God whether to move ahead or not, whether this is the right person for you or not, that doesn't mean that God is bringing two perfect people. Okay, God is joining two people, and I am joined to Sujit, And I make the decision of choosing him to make sure that I bless him every day that we are. So that's my call. My call is to bless him. My call is to bring him up from the place where he is, the place where God wants him, and to see him as the way God sees, and help him to see himself as God sees. So, so it's not two perfect people coming together. God tells you that doesn't mean that there'll be no issues. There will be issues. Can't say that she's not my rib. I think that concept.
It's manipulated, because what happens is we tend to put the blame on God, that no, God chose this. So what to do? I have to carry the cross and walk along the life's journey, and people consider the spouse as their cross. That's not how it works. So the thing is, God gives us the power to choose, and then he sticks with our choice. So when we choose each other and we say, okay, now we are going to get into the covenant called marriage, you understand, in the covenant, the third party is God. Jesus comes in between, and then he does the part of bringing two people together. So it's a place where two people become one. It's a mystery. That's what Paul says. It's a mystery. How two can become one? Only God can bring them and make them one. So the choice is ours. But the beauty is, as we choose and as we enter into this commitment, God is the one who brings two people closer to each other. That happens through wisdom, knowledge, understanding, guidance of the Holy Spirit.
So good to have two perspectives. Aata hai. So, as both of you, ma'am, said that we should take it to the Lord, and he has given us will to choose.
True.
And he sticks with us. So, if I ask further another question related to that, someone has asked, I'm serious about dating, and I date with the intention. Okay, so should I wait for a confirmation from God before I enter into this phase of dating?
Yeah. Yeah, in one word, the answer is yes. I think you should elaborate.
Fine dating at best. So I'll leave it to you.
So yeah, we need to understand dating. The whole idea of dating should be to enter into a covenant. So dating is like the first step before marriage, where you figure it out that, okay, I'm ready for marriage. I'm ready to get connected. The whole idea is that I'm ready to get married. So now I'm in a position to find a suitable partner for myself. And so I'm going to initiate this process called dating. Now, the whole process of dating should be with the sole objective that the end goal has to be marriage. It's not going to be like window shopping, where it's like, okay, I want to try this product, that product. If it suits my requirement, then only I'll go for it. That's not how dating should work. Dating should be a step of faith that, okay, I like this person, I took it to the Lord, and I feel that, okay, there is a leading towards this relationship. So in the first itself, you should define the relationships, telling that, okay, I am coming to you to date with you, to know you, because I'm interested in marriage. I'm interested in covenant. So before dating itself, the boundary has to be set that, okay, we are going to date, but we are not going to violate the boundaries. At the same time, we are going to leave each other better than we have found each other, better than how we found each other. So that should be a commitment, dating. And with that in mind, when you are taking it to the Lord and having his guidance over the whole thing, you'll find that how beautifully he directs. Sometimes people, they find it that, okay, no, it's, at the first thing itself, the essentials are not met, the essentials are not properly defined. So they can take a healthy, break from this dating. These are my priorities. This is what the Lord has put in my heart. And there's a mismatch. So I think let's stop here. Let's be good friends. Let's continue. And I think that should be a proper.
So, all of you are very familiar with arranged marriage, love marriage. Right. So, nowadays, what happens is people have, there's nothing wrong with both. And if you understand arranged marriage the talks, okay, there is a set boundary set between, there's no emotional attachment, it's basically evaluating. So I build what is dating, and it says it's a romantic relationship of evaluating individual selves for a future intimate relationship. Okay, some other definition says it is an intimate relationship and you can come out of it anytime. So that is wrong. Okay, so I think setting proper boundaries and not getting emotionally attached is important, because you cannot find out everything about that person in a month, in a year, even in 5 years. You can't. Okay, you need a lifetime to know a person. So knowing it, the goal is not knowing the person fully. The goal is to find out basic things, basic priorities of your life, whether your priorities matches with other person. And I think the best for us to make a decision, only God can help. Because we can never make out from, but it is important for us to write down our priorities, because sometimes we ourselves don't know what we want.
I would like to, bring a side note to it. My wife had 40 points.
I brought it.
Before, she started looking for a partner. That was directed by the Lord. The Lord told her to prepare 40 points. So she had a proper framework of what she wants.
It took me quite some time to make that. My father actually told me that now there are proposals coming, you don't know what you want. So please write down. So when I started writing down, I realized that I really don't know what I want. What is expected out of me, because marriage, when you're 21 years old, you don't think it through at all. In fact, that moment, I didn't even want to get married. No, but that is the right time to actually think about it and prepare yourself. And that really helped me. It took me a year of praying and writing down. I think I changed my list like 5 times. And in the span of 6 to 8 months, it was ready. And a lot of prayer went into it. And when proposals started coming in, especially when I met Sir, not just Sir, there were other proposals which had come, my parents, church, whatever. Like the first question, there were infatuation as well. And I would go back to the list. And when Sir's proposal came, the Lord said, chuck the list. That's not for him. That's not for you to evaluate him. Prior. Spend time with me, I will tell you whether it or not. So I told God, Lord, I'm not going to fast for 3-4 days. I'm just going to pray for one day, yes or a no. I'm not going to let that my mind over and over again, because it has happened before. Other proposals which came, it had happened before. So when he came along and I had liking towards him, I told the Lord, I'm not going to ponder over it. Tell me if it's yes or no. And when he did confirm to me, I said, Lord, I'm going to wait till he. So it was a helpful tool for me to know where I was at, what I want. Someone approaches, you should know what to talk also. So.
That's how it works. See, we need to understand that God is the author of marriage. He's the beautiful creator who has made male and female in his image, and he wants them to come together and become one in beautiful covenant. It's his idea. So it's good to go to the manufacturer and talk to him about everything. See, just like how Hani said, when I used to have infatuations, I used to have conversation with the Holy Spirit in my quiet time. Say, Holy Spirit, I think I like this girl. Those conversations with the Holy Spirit used to really define what actually what actually is my need, and then how the journey is going to look like. So we had heartaches at the same time.
See, sometimes you'll have to ask the Lord over and over again. Won't be clear. That feeling will be there. Don't tuck that feeling. It's normal. But for us to, but don't take a step.
Aajkal, people start dating from school, just 11 or 10, and they. My only thing is, buddy, are you ready for marriage? No? Then better take some pause, grow into it, because you're not ready for a responsibility, not ready for a covenant. This is an area which has to be really taken very serious.
Are dated early, got married. But there are cases that who've got married. They have stood the test of time. But so I'm that there's no formula here. You need to evaluate yourself. God knows the best for you.
These guys, they did not get married in 10th and 12th. What happened was they waited, they got graduated, they got good job, but they made sure that they kept their boundaries, and we know that. Correct.
But there are
I'll dive deep into the question now.
Yeah.
Someone's asked, to fall in relationship with someone of another religion, backing it up with a that should not be an unbelief. What are your views?
See, we need to understand why the scriptures talk like. And when your priorities are set, that means you know that you are a believer. Follow Christ. Christ is your life. So the word of God, there is no comparison between Christ and other false gods. So what happens is, see, infatuation can come on anybody, on religion. But what happens is when you evaluate your foundations, that is where the challenge is, where you understand that, hey, I follow Christ. If my partner doesn't follow Christ and doesn't have a foundation, it could be challenging. It could be challenging. So what happens is, are you ready to stand that challenge? Okay, that is the real thing. Are you ready? So if you're ready to make a covenant, you should be ready to face the challenge as well. So when Christ is in the picture, and when Christ is leading you into a decision, you understand that He will make things beautiful. Because we have come across couples where they were not saved, they did not know, one partner was a believer, but then through the process, the partner is saved and the marriage has become very beautiful. On the other side, we have also seen cases where partner was unbeliever and then the marriage worse. Now, so there is no formula. Every word, see, that's why the word of God and the Spirit of God is to come together to lead your life. Because the letter kills and the Spirit gives. So even when there are written instructions about things and marriage, those are our ground rules. But how to evaluate those ground rules for your life is to take it to the Lord in prayer. Ask the Lord, Lord, I'm disturbed about this. Like this person. How should I take it forward? I don't want to compromise on my faith. I don't want to compromise. So the Lord will lead. So that's how we should take. So you are not ready to face the challenge and you feel that, it's going to be a fiery furnace. Make constant, how do I say, a conscious decision to separate. Because otherwise it's going to ruin your marriage.
Yeah, will be a fiery furnace. Will be, because the foundation is to build your family on the of God, person may not have those principles. Foundation is different. Priorities are different. So it will be tough. But there is hope. And there is a process. Okay? Some people, what they say is, I will. But there is again another saying which says that I will change the person. That doesn't work. Okay, I will change the person. You want to talk about that?
There are many cases, that we come across. Sometimes what happens, people think, once I get married, I will change the person. So they are not, in a sense, they are okay to get married to a person who is addicted, severe anger issue, they have severe mental issues, and all those stuff are going on. But what happens is when they take the responsibility of changing their partner, what happens is it doesn't work that way. Only Christ can bring the right full change. So marriage is not the medicine. Marriage cannot solve your problems. Christ can solve your problems. So you have to be first connected to Christ. And we cannot take marriage as. So marriage is a place of bringing two people together. The covenant walk. It needs commitment. It needs dedication and intentionality. I also want to bring forth this point that the question is not get married to unbeliever. We covered that part. So does that mean that two believers, if they get married, everything is going to be fine? No. Again, you need to know how marriage works. So there has to be a conscious effort put into your marriage so that you learn how the car runs. Because car kharidne ke baad, you cannot be dashing the car everywhere trying to learn. That's going to be a bad choice because you're going to ruin your car. So better learn how to drive the car and then you go for a good purchase. The same way, the believer or unbeliever, you need to know what you're getting. What are the tools required? All those things we cover.
Cannot take, mentioning about, I cannot take the responsibility for his to decide for himself. And I can't force him. So in that also we need wisdom, discernment, revelation from Jesus. If I want him to change a particular way, I have to communicate the way the Lord wants me to, so that make the decision, not me for him. So it's very important for us to focus on self and our commitment. It's okay, even if he doesn't treat me well, I will continue to treat. I will continue to follow the vow.
Because one thing, I just want to put it across. Some marriages, sometimes one partner is a believer and the other partner is a believer. What happens is the believer starts treating the unbeliever as a devil. And then starts differentiating the person, telling, oh, no, believer, she doesn't follow the word, and they become rude. Thing is, kindness has to be the baseline. Love has to be the foundation.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So you bring Christ into your marriage. You don't differentiate. You bring the love to the table and love each other. Go all out in love. That's what Hani said. You put your partner first, then love, and then will bring the light into.
Question: if your partner cheats on you and you still want to be with that person, no? So is that an indicator, person, even after the person has cheated, of low self-respect?
You're trying to be loyal, even if
Yes.
your partner is. Yeah,
Before marriage.
See, before marriage, we need to really consider these facts. Because if the partner is having the habit of cheating, not loyal to the commitment, find that person is sexually pervert, you need to really consider those red flags. Have a confrontation on these topics. telling that, okay, see, I've observed this. You said that you're committed to me, but I find that you are cheating on me and you have got many other connections going on. Can we address this? Are you ready to go through a healing process? I'm going to wait for you. But if you're not ready to go through a healing process, then that has to be a stand. Because as we said, marriage is not going to fix these. These issues are going to become more bigger and magnified after the marriage. So better take a stand. Consider these red flags. And go to a therapist, to a counselor, go to a team of elders in the church. Sort this out. So healing can be brought in. A conscious, intentional effort is to be taken. So if you are loyal, you think that you really love that person and you want to see that person healed, then tell that, okay, I'm ready to wait, but I cannot compromise on these basic values, because we are going to pitch in our values and we are going to raise up children in these value systems. So let's not compromise. If your partner doesn't value that, then
it will be considered as a low. Your identity comes from the person and you don't address it. Say, it's okay, I will still. That is your identity derived from the person. So that plays.
If you're deriving your identity from your partner, then you have to take a pause. It's not what your partner thinks about. Not about what they are about you, man. What matters? How God sees you. What is your identity in Christ? That is a place of your strength and power. So there's no need for you to become a doormat and allow the partner to walk over you, left, right. Then to tell that, no, I'm still loyal. Wisdom plays a major role. You have to be wise. Now, when it comes to marriage, the covenant is made. In that thing, again, you have choices to make. Again, it has to be confronted. It's a sickness. It's an emotional personality error. And again, Christ can heal any situation. But your partner should be ready to go through that process. At the same time, there is a way you can fight it out. I know we normally quote this example, from the movie War Room, where this particular lady, she fights this issue in prayer. The whole idea of the movie is that you can fight for your partner in prayer. So you need stamina. You need people to guide you through this. So don't quit on your marriage. Work on your marriage. At the same time, pray for your partner. Fight it out. Nothing is impossible with God. At the same time, you will have to confront these things. Right? You need the help of the pastors and the elders. Those who can give you constructive environment where these things can be dealt without any shame. In the sense, it's a journey of healing, heart's healing. So, have that environment, go ahead, fight for it. Develop that environment for your partner will come out of it.
I really strongly believe that nothing is impossible for God. And this issue of not being faithful, though in the Bible it says that if your partner is okay, but it's a sickness. Of course, there are extreme cases, okay, and divorce is the only cases where the person just confronted and there's no change at all. But it is a sickness. And sickness like, just say, if a person is smoking, drinking, that is also sickness. So this sexual impurity is also considered as a sickness. It could be because of past trauma. It has to be processed. It could be some pain that the partner is. So when I find something in SUJIT, in any area, which is a malfunction, first thing I do is, no weapon that is formed against my family will
Shall
prosper.
prosper.
And I will not allow this in my. I'm not going to allow this. And those who seek will find.
Fine.
And the word of God says there is hope, there
Yeah.
is restoration, there is love, there is peace, any situation. Given us everything pertaining to life and godliness.
Godliness.
Everything. So, because I believe in Jesus, my family is going to, it's like praying for cancer. It's like praying if you have a child who's sick, the way I pray for my child if she's got fever, it's exactly like that. My child cannot do anything. It's just exactly like that. And I need to stand my ground. That's why I love both the movies, Fireproof as well as War Room, because War Room talks about prayer and how we fight the devil. Okay, and Fireproof so beautifully talks about how God gives you the ability to choose the right thing, to be a powerful person for your partner, and love conquers, casts out all fear. All fear. Coming to the point that it's so important to seek after and pursue restoration of a partner. Because I know what I am. I'm in a place that I am in because of His grace. Totally because of His grace. It's available for me. No matter which situation He has come through. But there is a process involved. There's constant connection with Jesus. As I said, seek after wisdom, after interpretation, seek after revelation, because the strength comes only from the word, and you can pass through it, Jesus, and you can see the victory.
So, very nice question. Someone's asked, before marriage, can we have relationship with our partners, have sex with the person we?
Yeah, that's a very relevant question, because we need to understand sex is not love. The current, or many times, the world portrays sex as making love. That's a wrong interpretation. Because sex is not making love. The purpose of sex is to bring two people together, and sex is a tool given by God to enhance your married life. So marriage covenant plays an important role in bringing two people together, because they are committed. They make a conscious commitment, a faith walk. They have started a faith walk that, okay, we are going to stick with each other no matter what. And then what happens is they explore each other, and then there is sex, there is romance, and it adds beauty to marriage. It brings two people together, makes them one, bonds. As there's no insecurity. But when these boundaries are not followed, and when couples end up having sex before marriage, the concept of marriage is, because there is no covenant, there is no commitment. It's all based on pleasure, in the sense lust, where it's all about getting your sexual desires met. What? So in that case, what happens is the sex will not serve the purpose. The purpose of sex is to bond two people, bring pleasure inside marriage, bring security, bring procreation and all those stuff. So that purpose is violated when it is not inside boundary called marriage. What happens is, when people are exploring each other's body and having sex, and what happens is they are violating themselves, because there is no real satisfaction, because there is no covenant. So there is always insecurity. Then what happens? Instead of sex bringing healing, restoration, and security and more bonding, it results in more harm. More wounds are created, and there is brokenness, there is shame. So the objective of sex is not. That's why sex before marriage, it doesn't cause any causes more harm. That's why we see a lot of soul ties happen. Finally, when they meet their partner and they are in marriage, they're carrying a lot of loads from the past, and it takes a lot of time to. So I think we have covered almost all the questions.
So that's question on sex. I just wanted to add that there's a lack of teaching on this, but there are resources available which are very nice, and on how what is important to a girl, what is important to a guy, okay, and how they get aroused, because it's totally different for a boy and it's for a guy, and it's completely different for a lady. Okay, the priorities are. I think that needs to be studied. If you're interested, get. It's a huge subject. We can't cover it, but you can get in touch with us. We can share with you resources where you can understand it.
And I just want to tell, we have to break this norm. Especially the girls have that. Okay, if I give my body to the guy, he's gonna stick with me. It doesn't work. The guy is really, interested in you. He will value you. He will try to protect you. But if he's only after your body, and you have to stay away, because sex is not going to bond you. It will bond you only inside the covenant called marriage. Otherwise, it's gonna harm you. You have to take a call.
The next question. Someone's asked, what does the verse "not stir up nor awaken love" actually mean?
This is a beautiful verse taken from Song of Solomon. Song of Solomon, gives a beautiful picture of Christ and the church. Then, we understand about how the lover woos, creates that arousal or sort of attraction. But then it's all heading towards marriage. You need to understand, because sex or sexual energy is like fire. Okay, so the fire that we make in the kitchen can be contained. Okay, because there is an environment, there is an exhaust fan, and we have got fire prevention mechanism in most of the modern kitchens. And you are aware of the smell if there is gas leakage. But if the same fire is you're gonna start that fire, the drawing room or in a public place, it is going to create accidents, going to create casualties. It's the same. That's why the scripture says, do not arouse love because this fire, which is the sexual energy, which is gift of God to bond two people together, can be beautifully explored and enjoyed inside the boundary or inside the covenant called marriage. Because there, you have no insecurities. There is protection. There is provision. There is the support of the family, and there is no shame. So what happens is, this thing that is so beautiful, sex, sexual energy, which is so beautiful created by God, can be explored and enjoyed to its fullest extent. So it's a word of wisdom that don't arouse it. If you're not ready for marriage, if you're not ready for a commitment, if you're not ready to get rid of your baggages of the past, and like for example, if there are cases of sexual brokenness and all those messes already there, it's better you seek help. Then create that environment where you value the commitment of marriage, and then because sex adds to your marriage, adds to your growing together, growing wiser together, growing responsible together. It's all part of the equation which God has put in perfect order. So when the perfect order is followed, the result is beauty. But if the order is not followed, you will have only gloom and doom, and then more heartaches and more wounds.
I want to add, when it happens, there is fear involved. Then the foundation of your relationship becomes. So when there is fear, there's no love. Absolutely. And no two people can be together when there is. There'll be control, there'll be shame, and there will always be complaining, manipulations, fear. If there is fear in a relationship, there is control. That has to be help. So you handle it yourself with the Lord. If you can't, ask someone.
So the last question for this podcast, since we've covered that the ultimate goal of marriage.
Yeah.
No? So someone's asked, I believe in God's timing, but I'd like to know, when do you think the ideal age to get married to someone?
We got married when 24 and 25. So, because we felt that we were ready for it, had a pretty decent job, we informed our parents and they were in it. And so we cannot fix a time. No, it is in your hand. You know, it's like you need to know the basic foundations on which this beautiful system called marriage stands. If you're ready, then go for it.
It's your responsibility. Whatever you do will affect the partner. You're ready for in terms of finance, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Have to go with. It's powerful when two people do together. But if you're not ready for it, prepared for it, then there will always be complaints. I can't even go shopping. Like, you know, it's a weird thing, but it's only because they are not prepared and they don't know that there is a risk. So some people, they get married in they're 18, but they are prepared to do their studies after they are. Some people do their bachelor's and their master's after marriage. So ask them how it is. They'll say tough, but they signed up for it. So said, yes, I will handle marriage as well as. Some people, they have found their partners and they are doing the bachelor's, doctoral degree, doctors, and they want to do their master's. They say, no, I cannot handle the pressure. I want to finish my studies and then get married. Both the parties discuss, decide, and then they get married. It all depends on the person. First, the Lord's leading. The most thing is the person.
You have a driving license and you know how to drive the car and you have the finance to get the car. Enjoy the car. It's the same with marriage, nahi?
Exactly.
In simple words, if you have all these calculations in place, go ahead, get married, have fun. I think we are done with our podcast. Thank you, Percy, for the questions. Thank you, our team, for bringing it all together. I hope you have enjoyed. So we have addressed few issues and we discussed. If you think that you need help in any of these areas, do a lot of life coaching, counseling, and Germinate is available. It's emotional fitness or a wellness center. Address these issues because certain issues need time and a process for healing. May the Lord lead you, bless you. Happy Valentine's week, I would say. This Sunday, we are going to discuss more on this and follow us. We'll know more on. God bless you.
God bless you.